Sexting, attempted blackmail, RCMP investigation. Very sensational headlines about one of the most well-known politicians in the country, the former minister and Ontario MP Tony Clement, who announced this past week that he will not be running again in the next election. Now remember, Mr. Clement was kicked out of the Conservative caucus and off the National Security Committee after he admitted to sending inappropriate pictures and video over social media to people he believed were young women, but were in fact two men in the Ivory Coast who tried to blackmail him for thousands of dollars. It is never easy when private lives of public officials cross wires. So how has Mr. Clement dealt with all this? Let's find out. I'm joined now by Mr. Clement. And thank you for being here. I know it's not an easy conversation to have, sir. Yeah. And you and I have talked for a long time about this. You've been a public figure for a long time, Tony Clement. Tell our viewers and tell us what exactly happened, because we saw the headlines. We haven't heard your story.
Yeah, well, obviously I had a severe personal crisis, and to use the metaphor, I went down a deep, dark valley, and I tried to get out by myself. I can handle this, I can deal with this, and I was not successful. And so when these blackmailers tried to blackmail me, that's when I realized I had to come clean on the things that I had done that I was not proud of in any way, and turn a corner. And that's what I did. It's been, as you know, humiliating and not fun for my family as well. But I really felt that this was now or never in terms of turning my life around. And that's what I've been doing.
And that you're talking about is quite extraordinary. That moment where, as you called it, the deep dark hole, and you realized the first time that you were being blackmailed, because there's two episodes. What was that?
No, there's only one episode.
One episode.
Yeah.
What was it like when that moment when you realized, oh my goodness, I'm being blackmailed for this, and all of a sudden you're at a crossroads. What was that moment like?
Well, it was instantaneous that I knew I had to do what anyone would consider the right thing. That is to say, inform the authorities like the RCMP, inform my caucus whip, Mark Strahl, inform my wife.
Right.
These things, I immediately knew I had to do those things, because if I tried to fix that, it would be even worse.
Mr. Scheer initially stood by you.
Yeah.
And then he said, no, I've got to kick you out. And he said, I took him at his word that there was only an isolated incident.
Right.
Since then, there have been numerous reports of other incidents and allegations. So in that respect, I've asked Mr. Clement, Tony, to resign from caucus. So I know you said there's one incident. So were there multiple incidents or not? Because apparently Mr. Scheer said you didn't come clean on everything first. What happened? One
incident of blackmail, but other incidents of improper behavior.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And why did I not let Andrew know? And I've apologized to him personally for not letting him know. Very simple, shame and guilt.
Shame and guilt.
That's why I didn't come completely clean on the night of October 31st when I realized that that the blackmail attempt was being made. So
just straight up, like it must have been hard. You had your career, your public persona. There was other incidents, but you just thought you just couldn't bring yourself to talk about it.
Not initially,
right,
but then I several days later, I let it all out.
You did.
And I made a statement, or I issued a statement saying, look, I've done. There's not only this incident, there's these other incidents, right. And I apologize, and I apologize to my family, and I apologize to my colleagues and anyone else who had supported me over time, and promised that I would get the help I needed, which I did do, and promised I would turn a corner, which I did do, but I had to come clean on it completely if I was going to be sincere.
Were you concerned in the midst of this, when all this was going on, the blackmail attempt, because you had the highest security clearance on the Parliamentary Committee on National Security, were you concerned that there was a potential security threat through you for Canada?
Absolutely not. And the reason I would say that is both the RCMP looked at it from that angle and decided that there was no security threat. The committee looked at it from that angle, said there was no security threat. This was strictly about trying to squeeze some dollars out of a hapless guy. The proof was, again, I'm not excusing my behavior, but when push came to shove and there was somebody who was trying to get money from me, I did the right thing. I informed the RCMP immediately. and made sure that they were shut down.
I wanted to ask you, Tony Clement, about the life. I mean, we don't talk about this. You've been a politician for a long time. Frankly, the life is on Parliament Hill can be lonely. You're away a lot. Was this one of the, you talk about falling into a dark place. I'm not trying to alleviate the personal responsibility because I know you've taken it. But is it an aspect of it, the life you've led? Is this part of the political life?
Yes, and I'd like to use my answer to send a direct message to other parliamentarians and my colleagues. If you are facing anything similar to what I faced, and it may be alcohol, or it may be drugs, or it may be gambling, or it may be shopaholism, whatever, right? Get the help. Get the help
But what
early.
was it that you're facing? Oh, that's what I can't put. Was it because I'm just trying to figure out what you said you got help, but what? It's not. Was it not a gambling addiction? What was it?
Well, I mean, doing these things that I was doing was irrational, right? So I don't think my headspace was in the right space, and I never want to do this again. So I've created. I got the help. I got the counseling I needed, and I've got the boundaries and the guardrails up. But I guess, again, I want to stress a message to people who may think that they can handle it, that this is just, whatever it is that you're keeping secret, go get the help, and get the help from your colleagues too, who can be around you and help you live the life that we all want to live.
Not easy conversations. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you, Mr. Clement.
No,
appreciate
thank you.
it.
Yeah.
And good luck.